we collaborated for something very important at the beginning of the pandemic and when students couldn't come back. I want to start there with just reflecting on the One Nation workouts. And not only did that keep a lot of people that aren't even student athletes active during times when they couldn't go to the gym, but certainly it kept a sense of normalcy around the University of Lynchburg experience. What was the main goal for you when thinking about doing something like that?
It might have been, Joe, a little bit selfish on my end, to be quite honest with you. Um, the first conversation started. I am part of the National Strength Conditioning Association's lacrosse special interest group, and so we had some conversations about how are we going to connect with our student athletes. I got into coaching. I mean, I very well could have coached football, but I wouldn't have been able to touch as many people, I don't think. So that's kind of what led me down the route to have the opportunity to impact more lives. Um, Getting strong and all those type of things. That's the easy part of my job, but the ability to impact lives is something that I really wanted to continue to do in my life. Um, but to get back on the subject of how the workouts came, it just came off of that. Is how am I going to still make an impact with our student athletes? So I couldn't imagine being a student athlete, whether it be those spring student athletes or even the student athletes that ended in the fall and had to continue their finalize their careers, if you may, at the university online. I just wanted to give them something to still feel like they were still part of the Lynchburg community. I think having the ability to team up with you and do that was really second to none. So it was, fun to still have that community, and we could post about it and get community and not only impact Lynchburg, but as you mentioned before, it started to impact much more outside of Lynchburg. Jumping on at the 10 o'clock and getting it in on those Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It was a lot of fun for me too. I said it was selfish. I'll be 100% honest, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I haven't worked out a whole lot over this time. I've been fortunate to have a lot of time with my newborn, and so I've sacrificed my working out right now to spend time with my family, because as soon as school gets rocking and rolling, I'm gonna be in and doing all the workouts and all that kind of stuff. So I've kind of switched what I wanted to do, but that's kind of a roundabout way of saying I did it to create a community and keep the community rolling as they were going home.
Well, you are still doing workouts. It's just different.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
We know that school itself has been bumped up. First day of classes, August 12th. We know that the official date hasn't been put out, but more than likely our seasons will be pushed back to, around mid-September instead of the beginning of September. So with all those pieces in mind, and of course, the health part of all of this and making sure that people are doing things safely, how does that look? What does that look like in a gym? What does that look like in Wakefield House, where the majority of your work and their work will be in order to be prepared for that middle of September first game?
Yeah, it's going to look different. That's for sure. If you've ever been on Lynchburg's campus on any given day during the week, you could see people coming in and out in masses to Wakefield House. At any given hour, especially at the top of the hour, you're going to walk through the front door, boom, so probably about 20 going in and 20 going out at minimum. And if you come down there, music's loud and all those things. The music's not going to change, I don't think, but the amount of people in the building, how we have to space them out, still may change a little bit. It might also push us to get outdoors a little more if we can, maybe using some outdoor space from time to time. More than I have in the past. Just if it is a nice day now, weather permitting, and those type of things are going to be an issue. But also, once they get to campus, like I said, we don't know what they really have had access to, other than what they're willing to give to us. Division III rules allow them to kind of have the opportunity that they don't have to tell us exactly what they're doing, and that's okay. Some people get all tied up and say, "Oh, we can't hold them accountable." Well, great student athletes will do great things even when you're not looking. And if we've built a good culture and we've recruited the right people, then that's going to happen on its own. But the difference is the flow of the room, how long the sessions are going to happen, how many people can actually be in. Fortunately, if we consider all of Wakefield House, our strength conditioning facility, we have the largest strength conditioning facility in Division III, possibly in in the state of Virginia. But we have space. It's just going to be the amount of equipment that we can use, and how can we get a little bit thinking outside the box, if you may, to try to train the athlete in more of an open space without necessarily using super heavy loads all the time, where we've got to be in the rack and those type of things. I mean, we are limited in equipment space, but we're not really limited in total space of to work out in. So
one more thing on that subject before we move on to the fun stuff. When it comes to health and cleanliness, we know that in life before all of this, gyms are still a place that breed a lot of germs, that can breed a lot of germs, sweat, and all those things. What, if any, processes have you established already will have to be taken? How many times a day will things be cleaned? You know, have those conversations been had? And if so, where are you with those?
Our cleaning process, there will be, again, based on how many people are in there, we're gonna have the athletes continue to do what they've been doing in cleaning after their session, but also periodically through the day, we'll try to do just a quick disinfect when we feel that it's necessary to do a complete disinfect of the area, and then do a deep clean every night. Fortunately, we've had the opportunity to get some, I'm going to use a Wagner power sprayer, so we don't have to really spray it directly but we need to spray the area at the masses. And so we've looked at some different cleaning solutions and things that we can put in a Wagner power sprayer, something that you would typically paint your house with, but we're going to essentially paint the racks with disinfectant.
Last thing I want to get to is something a little bit more serious, and just curious, because certainly when you and I both arrived here, we had certain motivations as far as what we wanted to do individually and what we wanted our programs to look like. 5 years in, what are the things that keep you motivated? What are the things that allow you to get up with the same energy, sometimes even more, to conquer the day, whether that be with your athletes or with your newborn son or your wife? What were those things for you?
Well, I think you mentioned those three things right now, are what wake me up. You know, every morning, whether it be he wakes me up or I wake up before he does. EJ wakes me up, and that's definitely something that's changed in the last 5 months for me. You know, I've obviously with Krista when she was pregnant, you know, but it's not real until he's here. And you know, I would do anything and everything for him. So that wakes me up. My wife, being able to support, get the support from her. It's hard to be a strength coach's wife. I could only imagine having to do what she has done, whether it be move here, you know, different situations throughout. We've been fortunate to have great support within the Hornet community, so you know, that's great. But you know, I really enjoy on the strength side is when the athletes are having success. I probably get more more joy, more desire for the next day on those nights that I sit up on the wall, or I'm in the stands, or I'm at the ODAC championship in 2016 when they both win it back. You know, those things, when I see that happen and I get to see those student athletes go out and succeed at the level that they set out to succeed at, and even sometimes fail when they don't think they were supposed to fail, and then turn around the next day and come in and attack a workout, that's what drives me. You know, to be there, to be able to be some sort of motivation, whether they need it or they don't need it, and just be a, you know, sounding board. Sometimes they're just frustrated about how did we lose that game, or man, we shouldn't have really been able to have that much, you know, and being able to be a sounding board for them, and this and that and the other. So they motivate me. And then once they're gaining their accolades and things of that nature, it's awesome to see that they, you know, the hard work that they are putting in, and the trust that they're putting into me, is helping pay off to them. I'm only a small, and I never will ever take any credit for any championships, any huge successes of the student athlete, because they ultimately have to do the work. They ultimately, when the whistle blows for the start of a game or an event or whatever it may be, the coaches really don't matter. We just prepare them the best that we can and allow them, put them in the best situation. So when they start to have those successes, that's what's really rewarding for me.